The incredible two-time Emmy Award winner, Bonnie Bartlett, is my guest today. St. Elsewhere, V, Little House on the Prairie. There's probably a million ways that you have seen and love her. You're going to love this conversation. That's coming up right now. All right. My next guest has been entertaining us for over 70 years. Over 200 film and TV appearances, including 2 Emmy Awards for her role on St. Elsewhere. Loved her on Little House on the Prairie and so much more. Now author of Middle of the Rainbow, How a Wife, Mother, and Daughter Managed to Find Herself and Win 2 Emmys. Please welcome to the show, Bonnie Bartlett. Hey.
Hi. How are you?
I am so great. I'm so great. Last night I rewatched your very first Home Improvement as Tim
Oh,
Allen.
really?
Yeah.
That was fun. That was a fun show.
Tim is I'm coming to you from Michigan. So
Detroit. He's from Detroit.
exactly. I think in one of the
We share a love for a certain ice cream that they have in Detroit.
Which one?
I can't remember. Tim would know. He still orders it, I think. It's a wonderful ice cream. I used to get a hot fudge sundae there.
Saunders. Like Saunders.
Saunders, yes, Saunders. Loved it.
Saunders hot fudge is the best. But yeah, Tim's a Detroit person, and you played his mom. One of my I'm a stand-up comic. I do stand-up comedy also. One of my favorite stories ever is about Tim Allen's actual mom. We did a show together. For Dick Burton. We did a big comedy kind of charity event with Tim Allen. And Tim's mom came up to me after and was like, "You were so good. You were so good." Oh. And I was like, well, if you can win over the mom, you're like.
No, I know. He did talk about his mom. Yeah. So she sounds like I don't know if she's still with us, but she sounded like a fun lady.
Yeah, it was just, I got a real kick out of that. I was just like, but that was funny. He was wearing like a Detroit Lions shirt in it. He's very, very Detroit. That was, did you enjoy doing comedies?
Yes, I do. I didn't really in the beginning. I was a very serious theater actress. I wanted to be, do Greek tragedy, and that was my aim. And of course, life takes you where it takes you. But my husband, of course, is a master at comedy, and I picked it up, and I wasn't as comfortable doing it. So it was very good to work with Tim because he and Pat were wonderful. They completely supported me, if you will, helped me along, really. And I had done a lot of other stuff, but that I really enjoyed. He's very funny. He's very funny.
He's very funny. That was Home Improvement was just one of the best sitcoms.
Absolutely.
I loved your book.
Yes, good.
I've heard you interview. I've listened to some of your other interviews that you've done, and I love that you do not hold back. You tell it like it is, and it's a really impactful book. I'm
glad. I'm glad. Sometimes men have a little trouble with it. They don't like seeing some of the things, but with what's happening right now, I don't know if you watched any of the convention, but the whole thing is that the women are saying, we're not going back. We're not going back. Actually, my book is going back. My book is trying to tell you what it was like. I'm almost 100 years old. I'm 95. I've been around a long time, a lot longer than most people. And so I'm trying to tell them what it was like. And of course, the progress that we've made. And again, the joy that you can have, even if you have all of that nastiness in the background, you can go on be a mother. The joy of motherhood, the joy of having a good career, working with my husband, and it's all turned out wonderfully, wonderfully. But I had to work hard. I had to work hard because of that background. And that's really what the book is about. And it's right. You want to know what it was like going back when you say we're not going back. Right. We're not going back. And the women are very strong about this.
I have two daughters, my wife, so I'm the sole guy. So when I read this, it's like I look at it different. I want their rights protected. I want them to be able to do what they need to do and not have to live in fear of the government taking things away from them. So both of
Right?
those things definitely resonated.
Yes, good, 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 good.
I do feel like I know a lot more about you than I should.
And you should.
You know what I mean? I mean, you share a lot in the book.
Yes.
So I feel like I need to tell you some things no, about me, just to make it fair. No, I'm kidding.
It is a very personal book. I know, and I mean that's the only way I know how to work. That's what I do. That's who I am, and that's what I do. And when I finally got around, I had to be. Most of the people are dead that were abusive to me or did anything, and so that's fine. I can write about them and it's okay. I'm not hurting them. I'm not hurting their families.
I pulled a quote, said, you wanted to speak to women so that they could see how you overcame it, to give them.
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. How I have had a lot of therapy, and I certainly recommend that. I recommend it. I think, well, everybody has to. You have to go to the dentist, you have to go to a therapist. I mean, you do have to have somebody to talk to about these things because otherwise they weigh you down.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a very empowering book. So it was a great message. And oh, you know what else I was watching recently that I forgot you were in? Then I was watching it and I'm like, oh, Bonnie's in this too. I was rewatching V, the original miniseries.
Oh yes, yes, that was good.
I was talking to Jane Badler, so I was rewatching it again.
Yes,
But
yes.
he's one of my favorite things ever. I had Kenny Johnson on the show once, and growing up, I was obsessed with that miniseries. It was just so amazing. But you're great in that. You have it's such a powerful story, really. I mean, it still resonates today.
Yes.
It was funny when I was talking to Jane, and you mentioned it in your book because I think she came right after the tragedy that occurred with Dominique, and you kind of put a different vibe on the show for me. Like when I was watching after I read your thing, because I was just like, because I didn't realize the timing. I think when I was young, so I don't think I understood the timing of it. And Blair was Robin Maxwell and the character, and so I didn't realize that. I knew that she had died and was murdered. I didn't realize ever that she was supposed to be on V and that she was supposed to be Robin Maxwell. And I was like,
she worked one day, and there she was, and I enjoyed just watching her. We weren't friends, but I enjoyed her very much, and she was terrific. And then all of a sudden, the next day, another person shows up in her part, and in the meantime, she had been murdered that night. It was all so fast, and it was so unrecognized. I mean, it was recognized in the press, but we just went on. It's horrible.
Yeah, that must have been because when I talked to Jane, she was explaining like how she came into it and everyone was mourning. So it was so surreal.
Oh, yes, it was a totally surreal experience. Yes. Because, I mean, the business, they have to do that. But oh, it's depressing. It's to just replace, like they weren't there, they don't exist. It's gone. And then boom, there's somebody else. Oh boy, that's tough. That was a tough one. Very tough.
Other than that, which I know that's a big one to get over, it was V something that you enjoyed being part of? I mean,
Yes.
when I rewatch it now, and I've rewatched it a few times in the last probably 5 years, it's like the story is very reminiscent of now as well, with like, because it's ahead to all the Holocaust themes and people taking over, and like you watch it now and it's still like a lot of the playbook. That's
Yes, Yes. What's the word? The betrayal in the family. That's the hard thing to do. That betrayal
Yes.
in the show.
Going back in time a little bit. So you knew right away you loved acting. You kind of had the bug really early in
Yeah.
school.
And my father had been an actor. I mean, we experienced a lot of very good things and a lot of bad things. Hi, honey. Bye bye. That's my son. He sets me up on these things because I don't know how to do it.
Well, thank him for me.
I will. I will. It was a very good experience. So I've had wonderful experiences, really. Little House on the Prairie was a joy to do. And I do now a couple of conventions with Little House people, and I get to see them again. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the conventions and meeting the people and having the fans there. I like that.
I just talked to Dean Butler. Were you
Yes.
the 50th anniversary and see
Yeah.
me? Did
I was in Simi Valley, yeah, but just one day because I was a little ill, so I only did one day of it. But it was great, and everybody loves me. I love it that they do. I mean, they love that character, Grace. They love her, the character, and with
Victor?
Victor and Grace. Yeah, it was great.
So what was it? What was your experience with Michael Landon and
Very
getting
good. Mine was very good. Yeah. He really respected me. He gave me the job. He just met me and he gave me the job. I was just here in California for a while, and it just happened so fast, and it was just wonderful. I loved it. I loved it. He was a wonderful director, and he was a television series guy, and that was my first experience with a television series, because they'd send me a script, and maybe I didn't have any lines or anything. I'm from the theater. So, I mean, I think, well, and soap operas where you do nothing but talk. And so here is this a script, I said, I can't do this scripted. And then he said, you don't understand. He said, when we buy you for a series, we buy you to be there when we need you. But there are times when you'll just be there and you won't have anything much to do. But you are there and people know you're there. And that's how we work it. We get these people that are right for the characters, and then they're there for us when we need them for the story. Big, very good. He also said, he's the one who said to me, you have to come totally prepared, knowing everything you're going to do, and then be able to turn it around 180 degrees if I ask you to. And I thought that was a really good thing, because that's good. That's smart.
That's really interesting. He seemed to really understand. Like, I think I read once he made the episodes, they all stand alone, meaning so like didn't matter in syndication if they shuffled them around or not. Like, you wouldn't have a part one and then not be able to see part two. And it just seemed like he had like a pulse on the concept of creating something that lasts forever.
You're
and he
right.
knew he was doing this. And
Yes. I'm sorry. It's very sad that he didn't live longer, and to see how it's gone on so amazingly well. People just love it. They just love it.
just love it. So
Generations, grandmas and mothers and then kids.
right, because I mean, to have that many
I have a lot
people,
of fans who are grandmothers. What?
well, to have that many people come to that 50th anniversary,
God, yes. It's a strange thing in our country, isn't it? This celebrity thing and the nostalgia thing. It's been extremely popular. The nostalgia of and going back to these shows.
yes.
Less so St. Elsewhere, because that was a very sophisticated show, and for its time, and it has not held. First of all, they didn't do the reruns and stuff. They didn't, and it was more just for its time somehow. You know?
Yeah, well, if from what I
Oh,
understand, like
not very well, the acting. And you would think with all of these wonderful actors on that show that it would be out there, but not enough. Not enough.
well, it's one of those things when you look back on it and you go, what? Denzel and William Daniels and Howie Mandel and Ed Begley, like people that all, but this is where they kind of started, right? Most of them, right? So you had this magic that they pulled together. All these
Right.
people became massive.
Yeah, well, it was Denzel's money job. I mean, it was his job that he did. He wasn't really interested. He wanted to do features, but it paid the bills till he got started. You know,
Yeah, I think I read it like it was never like well, didn't it almost get canceled after the first season?
after the first season, we thought it was canceled. Bill and I had gone to take a trip, in Italy, and we figured it had been canceled so we could go. And then when we got back to this country, we called our son, who was out here, and I said, he said, Dad, I think that show you're on, I think that got picked up. And it had been canceled. He said, I think it got picked up. And that was because of Grant Tinker, I believe. Grant Tinker loved that show. And his son was one of the producers, two sons, writers and producers.
It's amazing. So in addition to like getting maybe canceled during the first season, it was never like what from what I understand, like a ratings powerhouse. It was one of those just amazing shows that just went many, many seasons and now stands to be like probably one of the best written shows ever.
It is. I think it is certainly the best written medical show. Those Tom Fontana, we still see Tom, and he was the head writer, and he's just done some amazing things after that, and Oz and a lot of good stuff. It was just a remarkable show, and Bruce, the producer, was wonderful. Bruce Paltrow, Gwyneth's father, and who was a great producer, along with everybody.
I know it was just such everything was so amazing. Yeah, because I read that they like to use the names of the people that were related. Like Gwyneth Paltrow was a doctor that you could hear over the loudspeaker. They'd go, Dr. Gwyneth Paltrow. And like they like to work in the names of.
Oh, yeah, they do. They did. And they used a lot of Bill John Adams from 1776. They called things. We went to Philadelphia, and it was the John Adams building. And I mean, they did that all the time. They did that all. And they like to put in sort of salacious or dirty, what do you want to call it, and get away with it, so that the people who were double checking all this stuff didn't get it. They loved to fool them. They played those games. I think that kept them going. It's got to be hard to write that all the time. Very hard.
That is so funny. Is this the first time you guys played fictional husband and wife as well? You and William Daniels, or is this the first time? I know you did it a few times, but like, was this the first time?
We did it in school. We did Macbeth at Northwestern. Lord and Lady Macbeth. And yeah, we worked together a lot at school. And then when we came out, I got a big job on a soap opera. And so that really pulled me away. And then Bill, his first really important job was the Zoo Story, Edward Albee's first play. Amazing play. It was a life changer. Wonderful, wonderful play. And then he went on from there in 1776. So he did he did a lot of theater. But he did find finally that he was happier out here doing television. Better life.
Especially because he gets to work with you all the time. So what would be right? So that'd be when you guys were at St. Elsewhere, he would go and record his lines for Knight Rider, his kit. I don't know if you can see in my background right there. That is your husband's autograph on my wall, his kit. I can't really make it out, but but it is like his voice to me. Like, did he ever do that voice when you guys were just in a car together? Because I mean that was
Actually, that is his voice. He just plays the character, and but he doesn't change his voice really. It's just that maybe they run it through something. I don't know, to make it sound even more nasal. But he has this voice that is. He's always been able to produce it in the theater in New York. You know, Bill never had things help. He spoke, and you heard him because he knew how to do that. He just had wonderful production and wonderful, amazing enunciation.
yo, he's got an amazing voice. That's what I was like today. Like, is it to get into the back of an Uber of someone who would be the right age that would know Knight Rider, and then do his, even if it's his own voice, but like he's talking as the car. That would be like the greatest moment ever.
That's right. That's right. Oh,
Yeah.
huge
So,
fans of that Knight Rider.
so William Daniel was on the show first, and then you joined as his wife. This is like Little House, though. You they bring you on as a reoccurring character, or like, and then you kind of blossom in the role and become more
Yeah.
important. So that's happened to you a bunch of times.
Yes, happened much. I am essentially a supporting actress. I haven't had a lot of lead roles, a couple of times, but I'm a supporting actress, you know, to the stars of the show. And I like it that way because I get to do so many different things, which is what I like. Something about Bill, there is something about Bill, and this is true of a lot of iconic actors. He's always there. It's always him, whether it's John Adams or Kit or Dr. Craig or Mr. Feeney. It's still always Bill. And he has a kind of a gravitas or something that's just there. You know, he didn't like create it, it's just there. I like to do, like, I can play an alcoholic mother, a terrible lady. I can play on Golden Girls, a real bitch. I can go complete so that you're not even aware that I'm there. I am. It's me underneath it all. But I can characterize. And that's what I like to do. I've always liked to do that.
Was there ever a part that you wanted that was a lead though? Because I mean, your talent is beyond, right? I mean, like, so you're really, really good. So it's like you're so talented.
Yes.
So it's like, was there anything like that you went for or didn't get, or you did get, and that would be an example
Yes.
of?
Long time ago, and I can't remember the play, and I'm trying to think of the actress that got the part because she became a big movie star. And I was like second. It would have meant a bigger, I still don't think, because she was the kind of woman who was like Faye Dunaway. It's Faye Dunaway. And she sees herself as a star. You know, it's self-fulfilling. If they go in, I never wanted that. I just wanted to act and make a living and act. I didn't want to be in the limelight. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted to do that. Look how long it took me to write the book. I mean, I just wanted to work and live and let me alone. I mean, you know, this is what I do, like a doctor, or that's what he does. What a teacher, that's what they do, you know, whatever they do. That's the way I looked at acting, not coming into it and trying to be a star. I never had that. The women who do, and they have maybe beauty to go with it and everything, that's what they want. And guys too, of course, but that's what they want. And they can get it. They can get it. I didn't want that. When we adopted the boys, I stopped acting for almost 10 years because I wanted to be home with them.
Mother is the greatest role, right? So
it is. It is. We can't help it.
I love that part. I love that you took the time off. That was so great. So, well, going back with Bill, with William, so you guys met at Northwestern, right? And you've been married more than 70 years probably now, right? I mean, like
73, I think.
73 years. I loved how honest, brutally honest you were in the book, talking about the good times and the bad times and all
Well,
the
because we were not really romantic. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we wanted sex, and that day and age, the only way you could really get it easily is to get married. You know, it wasn't accepted to go live with somebody. Our parents were both against everything. Everything. Both of our parents just hated both of us. It was awful. It was awful. There was nothing romantic. There was nothing like a big. There was a wedding and stuff, but I mean, it was in between us. There was never any of this. Oh my God, this is for life. We didn't think that at all. We didn't think that at all. We didn't have any of that concept at all. So we grew into that. We grew into it many years later, where we're totally devoted to each other. You know, wouldn't think of going away. We started a funny way. We started a funny way.
So you think the path that you took is
Not,
was a product of the
not,
times, kind of like
yes, yes, yes. I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. We managed to get through it. Definitely product of the New York in the 60s and the 50s. Whew, very different. Very different.
I think it's amazing. Like, so what advice do you have for someone who, if someone asks, I'm sure you've been asked a million times, like 73 years of marriage, like what is the secret? What is the one thing you would say? These couple things, you know, these are the keys to a
Well,
true.
first of all, you have to like each other. And there are going to be times, now there were things about Bill, his anger and so forth. So you have to, it's very hard. Those things that you don't like about the other person, they have to be measured. They have to be, if they get too strong, he was able to grow always able to grow and change. And that was me all my life, was growing and changing. My whole life has been growth.
Right.
It never stops. It never stops. I think, I don't know. I think, first of all, that, and then you have to respect each other's work. Each person has, if they have work, even if it is being a mother, you got to respect that. But I think women should have always something else to do. I think that's really important. Every little girl should look for what she wants to do. It's like, see, every person should make those choices of, this is where I'm comfortable, this is what I want to do. And they should do that. And then they have a life too. Maybe or maybe not, but they have a love, boy, girl, whatever, and maybe children. The idea of having children is very serious, because that's where you make your commitment. I think that's where you make a huge commitment. And you've got to follow that commitment. You got to be a good parent, as good as you can be.
That's great advice. I think it's amazing how all the stories you shared. I'm not going to tell them all because I want people, they can read the book, but we don't want to give it all away.
Yeah, here, I'll show you. Here.
Yeah.
This is the book.
That's the book.
Yeah.
There's a beautiful picture.
Is that pretty picture? I was 40 something when they took that picture. It looks younger, doesn't it? Yeah. I was 40 something.
A lot of your career came when you were in your mid 40s, right? Like early to mid 40s.
When we came out to Hollywood, you know, and there again, when we came out, I was not happy. I didn't want to be here. I'd had some terrible things going on, and I didn't want to be here. And Bill sent me over to his agent, because he was, you know, doing stuff at the time. And he said, she's really good. You better, you know, and they sent me out, and I got everything. I just got all kinds of work. I was ready.
Ready.
I was really ready. I was so confident by that time. I had worked so hard and studied so hard to be better, always better as an actress. And I was just ready to do it easily. And it's all been easy. It's so easy.
I feel that's an inspiration as well, because I feel like in this, like when you hear people talk, it's like by 40 you're washed up, you know what I mean? And like your amazing career started right then, and so it's like that in itself, I think also is there can always be the right time for you and
It
your
was,
career.
it was at a time when they had Gunsmoke, and I could do Country Ladies. I did my grandma's, all those, I knew all of that background. I could do all that stuff. I could do just about anything. In V, I'm a Jewish mother. I'm not at all Jewish, but I could do that. I mean, I could just do anything.
Isn't one of your adopted sons is half Jewish? So you're honorary. You're definitely an honorary Jewish mom. I give it to
I
you
am
right there.
definitely. I am
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. So I want. Oh, so Little House. Back to Little House for a second. Victor decides he's going to leave Little House,
right.
and they end up writing you out of the show as well. That had to have that had to suck, right? I mean, that had to be.
It did, and I was very unhappy, but it was very short time because I went on and did a lot of other work. But yes, at the time, it hurt. It hurt. It did. I understood it, and then he was not successful in his sitcom. But by that time, I was working, so it was okay. So I got plenty of other work. Thank God. Yes, if you just do one part and that's it, oh God. That's a hard career, just one show, one part. You want lots of parts. And that I was very lucky that I got lots and lots of parts after that. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, you did. Was there ever a time where they're like, well, maybe we'll kill him off, make you a widow? You know what I mean? Was there ever like where Michael Landon was like, well, maybe we'll, it was like, nope, he left. So it's got to be a,
No, he's right. He was right because Victor was like, in a funny way, was like the star of the show. Do you know what I mean? He was the comedy. He was the guy, the hanger on. To Michael, who was the straight leading man.
so Michael must have not been happy either then.
No, he felt terrible. He felt terrible. He didn't. I don't. I think Victor had to come back and beg. I'm not sure. I bet he had to come back and beg.
Oh man, I bet. Because who else on Little House were you close with? Like Melissa Gilbert or like
She was a wonderful little girl. I see Melissa a little bit, and she's had a tough life, really, but she's okay now. I think she's okay. She's had a lot of problems and made a lot of bad choices, but she's okay. She's a good girl. She's a good woman. She's a very good woman.
for being so young and having that entire series on her shoulders? I mean, incredible.
Yeah, it is. It
Incredible.
is. And I see Allison Engren. I see some of them. And as you said, Dean Butler, he's a lovely young man. Lovely man. I shouldn't say, I don't know if he's young or what he is, but anyway, I spent some time with him and I liked him a lot because I wasn't on the show with him, but I liked him a lot.
Yeah, when I talk to Allison, it's always fun to talk to someone who is
She's funny.
completely different than the character you have in your head.
She's a good girl.
She's so funny. She's so funny. She's got
Yeah,
such a personality. Wow.
she has. She has a real personality.
So, all right. So you did that. You did then from there you kind of moved on to St. Elsewhere, right? And then
Right. And then Home Improvement came after that, and Twins. I made the movie of Twins.
I had a St. Elsewhere question for you in reading your book. So in St. Elsewhere, there's a part of the story where you talk about how the plot of your son passing away and then you getting their child. And that was your idea, but you had Bill kind of sell it in.
Because that was a man's group. That was a buddy group, and the women, they were not appreciated to making ideas. Let me put, which is typical, unless you have power. And of course, none of us did. So yeah, it was. I knew enough to have it Bill's idea.
Was was that plot line difficult? I know you had lost a child, right, before you adopted your two wonderful sons. Was it difficult to come out to suggest that and then have to play all that out and then live it out again? That was when I was reading the book. That's what kind of the question that kind of popped in
Well,
my head.
in acting, at least for me, none of it is difficult. The acting is easy. It's yeah. You have to stir in a pot. You have to stir in the pot and find the things that work for you. But you're an actor and that's your job. And so you're fulfilling your job. And to know that you're doing a good job is really all that matters. Do you know?
Yeah. Well,
Doing a good job.
I would, my question is because it was your idea to create that plot. So it was like, I just wondered if it felt a little too close to home, I guess. It's like, versus if it had just been something someone else had randomly come up with.
Yeah, it isn't personal. It's your craft and you do whatever you can to make your craft move and is interesting. And I thought that would be, I thought we were too old to have a child in the script, but I thought, well, we can be the grandparents. How do we get to be grandparents? So then I figured it out. That's the way we get to be grandparents. So we had a fun time.
Trivia kind of made Emmy history. You and William both won an Emmy on the same night for the same show. So that had to have been amazing. I mean, the photo of just the two of you that I've seen with both of you holding your Emmy.
I just had my granddaughter put together a T-shirt that is, she took a picture of Bill and me getting the Emmys and very excited. And then she does kind of an anime thing, on a T-shirt. It says, for better or worse. So I'm just getting those made. They're wonderful. They're so sweet and they're so wonderful. For better or worse. And I think we'll sell those because we're going to have a little store, and sell all the stuff, all the pictures, all the books, all the stuff.
Love it.
My son and my granddaughter can do it all after we're gone. Anyway, they're in charge.
They're in charge.
I just saw a couple of T-shirts, and I have a wonderful T-shirt for Golden Girls. B. Arthur says, "Go to hell," and it's a wonderful. She designed that too. She loves to make these.
You won an Emmy the next year as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill won two, and I won two. He had won one the year before, so he won two, and I won two. So we shouldn't fight, We have 4 grandchildren, so each one can have one of our Emmys.
You hear other stories where like one person's that's a much more accomplished actor or actress and it doesn't fare well for the relationship. You know what I mean? So it's a thing. It's like a picture like must have been a really good night in the Daniels house when you both came home with the Emmy.
The only time it was tough was when I won the Emmy and he didn't. And the journalist said, "Mr. Bartlett, would you stand aside, please?" And Bill did not like that at all. Oh, it's the only time in our life that he's been called Mr. Bartlett. Oh boy, that was not good.
No, but usually, like I saw a People magazine article. It said, "Who's William Daniels' wife?" And I'm like, you've accomplished enough that you should not be. That should not be the lead. And I was like, so if you got one time where he got to be Mr. Bartlett, that should be okay. Oh man. So all right, so you win all the awards. Oh, you mentioned twins. So you got to work with Ivan Reitman twice. So this is the first time. Then you were in Dave. And then so Twins, great movie, great cast, great comedy. Arnold Schwarzenegger's first kind of, or at least the one comedy that kind of set him on the road to being a humorous weightlifter. But you didn't want that role at first?
No, because it was not. When I went to the reading, I was glad to get the job. But then I went to the first reading and I thought, I never really like this. And who is that guy over there with those arms? I didn't know who he was. And I knew Danny, of course, but I thought, there's no part there. There's no part there. It doesn't mean anything. And so I said, I reneged and I said, I don't want to do it. And my agent called to tell them. And then he called me back and he said, "Bonnie, he wants to meet you and find out what's the matter." So I went and I told him, and I went through the whole script and I said, you got to have something there. So, she's got to mean something through the whole script. It's got to be, and I suggested things along the way, So then Ivan says, "I can't make you do this job, but I'll tell you, I'm going to use every one of these suggestions." That was
Can't say no to
clever.
that.
Well, you can't say no to that. And he was wonderful. He was wonderful to me and listened to me and respected me. Yeah, it was a collaboration, that little part, but it was a collaboration. That's
And
what support is. So that part supports the story so that you can believe it, because she believes it. And so it becomes from all this silliness to, oh my God, this has really happened.
do you know who played you as the
I
young
have
version
no
of you?
idea. He just said he was going to have me do it. And then at the last minute, he said, I can't do this. I can't take a chance. I said, I think you're right. We've spent a lot of time, but I think you're right. He said, I'm just going to pull an extra. I said, well, get somebody really classy. And he did. He pulled somebody and it was fine.
Yeah, I read that it was Heather Graham who like went on to do a lot of other movies.
Did she?
Uh,
Okay. I don't
but we
need to
don't know.
know.
I was hoping it said uncredited, so I don't know. So you never know. Sometimes you read these things and you never know. So sometimes.
No, I haven't. They don't tell you anything. They just hire you, pay you, and then go bye.
Twins was a great movie, though. They were talking about maybe
It
making
was.
a
It turned
sequel
out to
to it.
be a terrific movie. I was totally wrong.
Ivan Reitman had a good string, and then Dave is another. I loved the movie Dave with
Yes,
Kevin
I
Kline
did
and
too.
Sigourney Weaver. Such a funny idea that movie is, and like so good. So
Yeah. He called me and he said, "Come on, I want you to play a senator and just sit." It was like I went over. They put a suit on me and I did it. I mean, it was, but it was. It was. I like that movie very much, very much. A lot of good people in it. A lot of fun. A lot of funny things.
oh yeah, it's well,
Very
Danny
funny.
DeVito is so funny, and then I like I'm a big fan of Arnold, so he's fun to
Good.
watch. He's fun to
Well,
watch.
he's very smart. I'm a fan of his too, but for a different reason. Not as an actor, but as a human being. He did a PSA or something where he talked about what it's like to live under communism. Very beautifully done. He's a smart guy. This is no dummy. This is a smart guy. And
So
his
you're
father was a Nazi, so he really knows what it's like
oh, his father was really wow. Okay, oh, um,
to be part of that party.
oh, so all right, we talked about home improvements, and that's a Detroit connection. The other Detroit connection that I found on your resume, I'm sure there's more, but like Tuesdays with Maury,
Oh yeah,
because Mitch Albom, who wrote that, he's from Michigan as well.
lovely,
Um,
lovely actor I worked with. Oh, he's so lovely.
you worked with Jack. You were Jack Lemon's wife in that, right? He was Maury, right? And Hank Azaria was in that. So that's
That was lovely. That was lovely. It was a small part, but I was happy to do it. Very happy to do it. And Jack was a doll, and he was dying when he was
that's
making.
his last role, isn't it?
He was
Yeah.
on chemotherapy.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
Tuesdays with Maury was such a moment in time. It was a
Yes, a
book.
moment in time. Yes, yes, exactly.
You were in Firefly, right?
Yes. I love playing that old lady. Patience.
Patience, right? So you were in the episode called Serenity,
Yeah.
and so interestingly, so I was kind of looking it up because that's like the one show that everyone's like, you got to bring it back, you got to bring it back. And Ron Glass is in that, and you were in a couple of Barney Millers as well. But Serenity, while it was aired later as like the 11th episode or something, was originally the 90-minute pilot of the show,
That's
right?
correct.
So you were in the pilot of Firefly in theory.
Yes. That's
That
correct.
has a cast too. That I mean, that is Gina Torres. Like went on to do Suits. I love her, love her. Nathan Fillion, Alan Tudyk, Morena Baccarin. I mean, that's Ron Glass. I mean, there's
And another thing that people love is that I did Stargate. I played a part in Stargate, and they're big fans. That was made in Canada.
yeah.
But,
Once you do like one of these cults, like very popular science fiction things, you're in. I mean, like oh, and you
that
did
one, I
Saint
was the
Elsewhere.
killer of the world. I was the killer of the world. I killed the whole world.
once you hit all these,
not the killer. I was the destroyer of the world.
destroyer of the world. So when you're doing a Comic-Con, assuming it's not like the Simi Valley one where people are there for Little House, but when it's like Motor City Comic-Con, where it could be any fan from anywhere, does it just skew across all of it? You get a lot of Little House, you get St. Elsewhere, or is it or you get like the more of the Fireflies, like where does it fall in?
I go with Bill. And so we as a couple are an iconic couple because we've been married so long and we're so old. So I get a lot of that. But I get Little House, I get Golden Girls, because they're big Golden Girls fans. Let's see, he is Mr. Feeney, and so I get, of course, Mrs. Feeney. So I mean, he's Mr. Feeney. That's iconic. That's the big thing. He is Knight Rider. We get huge things of Knight Rider, cars, all kinds of stuff. Of course, all pictures. Then St. Elsewhere, Twins is big. Graduate is big for him. St. Elsewhere for both of us. Miss Feeney, Boy Meets World for both of us. The Graduate is still, perks up there. But certainly Little House and certainly Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World is probably the most popular of all for the two of us.
Is huge. Like when it comes to your husband, I fall in the Kit area. Like that's where I grew up. That was my show. Knight Rider was my show.
Yeah,
I think Boy Meets World, I was probably off at college or something like that, or that kind of thing. And but yeah, I remember, but Boy Meets World, people are obsessive over that show. I mean, they love that show. There's that generation. It means so much. I talked to Jeff Sherman, and love Jeff Sherman.
Yes, lovely guy. He was one of the writers.
Right. And he talked about writing for William and writing long speeches. And so again, you got to play, they brought you on, and then you eventually end up with Mr. Feeney's character towards the end of that last season. It's just, and people love seeing you guys together. It's just,
I think that's it. Yeah, it's become that sort of thing. We're just that couple who's been together the longest and worked together and stayed together. That doesn't happen too much in Hollywood. But I think it's because we both treated our life like life and not like stars, because we kept out of the limelight as much as possible in our personal lives.
Right. Until you wrote your books, and then boom.
His book is a lot of stories. He doesn't talk about personal things at all. I talk about all the personal things.
You got that covered. For sure.
I got that covered.
One episode of Parks and Rec, which is one of my favorite shows.
Yes, and also Better Call Saul.
Oh, Better Call Saul is brilliant.
I've done wonderful shows.
You've done so much. I know. I haven't even. I could Murder She Wrote, L.A. Law, Matlock. I mean, it's just there's a million. I could keep going. There's hundreds, you may say.
Hundreds of shows. Right.
We got to give a greatest hits. It's the greatest hits right now.
That's because I can do so many different things, and that's been a wonderful career for me. Really wonderful. I've enjoyed so much of it.
Do you think had you been the leading lady that it would have been less potential roles because people would have started to see you a particular way, and that as good as you are, you were able to chameleon into all these different supporting roles as different people?
I've been lucky so that you're right. If I had been on one show for 8 years, St. Elsewhere I was on for 6 years, but if I'd been on, but I wasn't, I was one of the leads. Yeah. If I had been on a show if I had stayed on the soap opera, I'd have been there forever. Because I did the lead on a soap opera, and I don't enjoy that at all. At all. No. Money. It's all about money.
Yeah, you were making bank. Yeah. You were making good money when you walked away from that. Yeah, but you made the right choice. Clearly.
Yes. But it's just both of us feel like we've been very, very lucky.
Bonnie, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thanks for writing this book. It's incredible and everyone should
So
get
glad that
this.
you enjoyed it. I mean, that you really did enjoy it.
I really enjoyed it. I went, yeah, I read all the books. Like, so I'm becoming like a little house expert. I've read your book, Allison's, Karen's, Dean's. So it's like, I know everything about it, but like, no, but your backstory and how brutally honest you are about your relationship with William Daniels and just what you had to go through. It's really an inspiration. I mean, it's just like, it's great for people to be able to read something like this and go, okay, this is horrible, but there is a path. I can still find my way. And so
Yes, and that's what I want. That's exactly what I want, and that's why I wrote it.
thank you. So let's read I'm going to read the name of the book real quick. Middle of the Rainbow. How a wife, mother, and daughter managed to find herself and win 2 Emmys. There's a website. You can go to bonniesmiddleoftherainbow.com. That's, I think, you get like a signed copy there. So that's probably
Yes,
where you should go. Support Bonnie there. And then, but it's probably everywhere else you can buy books as well.
sure.
It's awesome. Bonnie, thank you so much for sharing stories, hanging out with me. So appreciated.
Thank you.